Hello everyone, welcome to this video, welcome to my channel. My name is Brenda Campbell. I'm an artist and a certified Zentangle teacher. Today is Mindful Monday, and yes, it does not matter if you're watching this on a different day of the week, but on Mondays I post a video and I take you through the 8 steps of the Zentangle Method of drawing. It is a meditative art form. We are simply going to draw patterns on a very small piece of paper, or tiles as we call them, and with luck you will find some zen and some calm, and it will help you to bring yourself into this moment, to become mindful. That is our goal anyway. So let's go ahead and jump right into step 1. Step 1 is gratitude and appreciation. In this step, I am going to guide you through a short breathing exercise that will kind of help to settle you into your space and into this moment. So let's just go ahead and begin. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in, rise up tall, and then exhale and release everything down. Just relax. Another deep breath in, getting taller, getting straighter, and then relaxing down with your exhale. Drop your shoulders. Just relax. One final big breath in, and exhale. Just let your breath fall into a natural rhythm. If thoughts come in, let that be okay. That's what your brain does, it thinks. We're just looking for a little rest from it, so acknowledge the thought and let it go. And focus on the breath. I'd like you to take a moment and think about something that you are grateful for. It can be anything, small thing, big thing. When you find it, sit with it for a moment and notice how that feels. How does gratitude feel? And as we draw today, I want you to bring that feeling into your practice. And if you find yourself not sure what to do next, or maybe your line is just a little too wiggly, or perhaps it went rogue and went somewhere you did not want it to go, just stop yourself and take a moment to take a deep breath in and out. Maybe even 2. And then when you're ready, go ahead and bring yourself back and begin again. So that is step 1, gratitude and appreciation. And we are going to go on to step 2, but first I want to talk a little bit about what I'm going to use on today's tile. So I have this little reminder, there are no mistakes, so don't fear. This is just a practice. We do this for the journey, not for the end result, but oftentimes we are surprised that we have a pretty cool piece of art that we've created. I will be primarily using my Micron PN today to draw my patterns. And I'm going to also use a Micron 08 because we are going to have some large areas of solid black ink. So I'm going to use a little fatter nib, but you can use whatever pen you have. Don't worry about it. I'm going to use a pencil, and I'm going to use a tortillon, which is really just a big rolled up piece of paper that comes to a point. And I'm going to use this to blend out the graphite in my pencil when we get to step 6, which is shading. Now I will be drawing on a Zentangle tile. This is a 3.5-inch square. It is the original Zentangle tile. And we're going to go ahead and just grab our pencil and do step 2, which is to put a dot in each one of the corners of our tile. Step 3 is to connect those dots to create a border. Step 4 is a string, and the string is simply a line or multiple lines that we place inside of our border to separate space for our different patterns or tangles. So today's string is, we're just going to take, and what I'm going to do is start in the center at the top and use a curved line to come down to the center on the side. And I'm going to turn my tile and just repeat that. And these don't have to be all matchy-matchy. They don't have to all go up to the center. We're just creating some space to put a tangle. So you see mine do not meet, and that's perfectly fine. So we're done with our pencil now. We're moving on to step 5, which are the tangles or our patterns. Now the first pattern we're going to draw today is we call it a blossom pattern because we're going to begin in the center or somewhere around the center, and this pattern will grow out from the center. So we're going to draw Cyme, C-Y-M-E. It looks like a flower, but it's a really fun pattern to draw, and you can make it as large or small as you want depending on how many layers you give it. We're just going to make ours fit into that space in the center. So I'm going to go ahead and begin using my PN pen. Cyme, we begin with kind of a star shape, and you can make these petals any shape you want. I just kind of have mine come out a little bit into a point, and I'm going to do 5 points. And I'm just eyeballing this. I'm thinking of a star in my head. Okay, so there I have my first center star shape. Now the next thing we do is to draw an aura around the star. And I'm going to make sure I turn my tile as I go around and try my best to aura the line that I am trying to stay next to. All right, so now I have my center, my first step, if you will. The next step is to draw more petals, petal shapes, and we're going to do those in between our pointed petal shapes from the first star shape in the center. So I'm going to come up, same shape to a point, then I'm going to turn my tile and do the same thing between the next two. And just repeat this all the way around, turning after every one, and that will give you a more consistent shape as you go around. Okay, so then we aura these shapes. Okay, so we now have 2 layers or 2 levels in our pattern or tangle. We're going to go ahead and draw a third one, but I want to change it up a little bit and I want to do a different shaped petal. So this time I'm going to do kind of a crescent moon, like think crescent moon, I guess. And I'm just going to draw this half circle shape in between each of my petals. This will give me a little bit of contrast just in the shape. And now I'm going to go ahead and aura each one of these shapes. Okay, I'm going to do another row between these rounded shapes, and I'm going to make these rounded just the same. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but my shapes are getting slightly larger as I go out from the center because there's more space between each one of these petal shapes. Now I'll aura these. Okay, and I'm going to do one more row of petals, and I'm going to go back to my original shape in my original star. And these will all go between the last set that we drew. And then we will aura them. Remember to breathe as you're drawing. I know that seems like a silly thing to say, but really sometimes we do hold our breath. But even if we're not holding our breath, it's good to remind ourselves to stop and take a breath. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of decorate just a little bit. And I'm going to start in my center star, and I'm going to try to find like the center and just put a little black dot there. Now I am going to draw a line to the tip of the point in each one of our petals from this center. Okay, now I'm going to draw a line in the next row, same petal shape. So I'm going to draw a line from the point down to the row 4. And I'm going to go ahead and do that in this last row as well. So all of the petals with this pointed shape, get one straight line down the center. And now I'm going to do another couple of aura lines in our rounded crescent moon shaped petals. And I'm going to aura from the top. Now where that petal comes to a point, I kind of made a space in my aura line that just kind of gives it an illusion that it's behind the pointed ones. Okay, I think one more aura is all I need, so going on to the next row. So I'm just auraing inside that original half circle we drew and auraing the outside line. Okay, so I am done drawing my see me pattern or tangle. Now the next tangle that we're going to draw is another organic tangle because it looks like a plant. In this case, it looks like a leaf, and poke leaf is the tangle. We are going to go ahead and put that pattern in our corners, and it's going to look like they're coming in from the corner. And I don't have a whole lot of room, and that's okay. Now, poke leaf begins with a line, a short line, and then an aura for that line to create our stem. Then you draw an upside down smile on top of them. Then you can decide how big or small you want to make your poke leaf. And then you draw it around. It kind of looks like if you're a card player, like a spade. But it's just a kind of a leaf shape with a stem that comes up and meets it. So I'm going to go ahead and do one more here. There. Let's come over here to this corner, and we'll do one here. And another one here. Now you can make these as large or small as you want. You don't have to make them the same size as I'm making mine. This leaf is going tucked up underneath our see me tangle there. Okay, here we go. We got a little more room here. Let's see what we can do. Well, I kind of messed up that line, but remember, no mistakes. I'm not going to worry about it. Let's put one more here. And then come to this corner. Okay, I have my corners pretty full trying to decide. I think I'm good with that. So that is our pattern poke leaf. Now I'm going to put my Micron PN away and pick up my Micron 08, and I am going to start filling in all of the spaces between the tangles and inside of my borderline. And I'm just going to make them all solid black. And so this is going to take some time. But I do want you to watch me at least to get started. And I'm starting in the corners with my poke leaf. And I try to like create a border in the space with solid ink. In spaces I've got it oriented so I can see this line I'm drawing against. So I can stay outside but still get close. And when I get a larger space, I'll use these small circular motions. And I'm trying not to use too much pressure with my pen, because if I push too hard, it stops the ink from flowing. So I'm trying to really lighten it up and just let the ink pour out. And don't try to rush this. Take your time. One, because you'll do a better job. Your lines will go better where you want them to. But two, this is a very zen activity. And if you go slow and you really pay attention, focus on what's going on right now, what mark are you drawing, then I think you'll be surprised when we get to the end. Okay, I have one little section left in this corner. And then I'm gonna go ahead and finish off camera and let you do the same. Just take your time. Fill in all of that solid black. And when you're done, then just go ahead and come on back and start the video again, and we'll be ready to move on to the next step. And in the meantime, I'm going to fill in my spaces with solid black, and I will see you back here in a moment. So pause the video now. All right, I am back now. I am finished putting all of my solid black in, and you can see it is just in between in the empty spaces there. So we're finished with step 5, the tangles. We are moving on now to step 6, which is shading. And that's where we pick up our pencil once again. And now we're going to go ahead and start by adding some graphite and creating a little bit of contrast. So I'm going to start by putting a light line of graphite around our entire center star in our tangle, see me. Try not to press down too hard with my pencil because I don't want to burnish it into the paper. I just want to allow it to be there so I can spread it out and get some shading. So I've got my center star completely surrounded with graphite. Now I want to go in and do each one of our petals. And I'm going to do one side. I tend to have a heavy hand, so I'm hoping I can do one side with the graphite, and that'll be enough to go all the way around. And if it's not, I'll add another layer because that's how I work. And shading is best done anyway when we use layers. So I've got one side of each of these pointed leaves in the second row, and now we're just going to continue on outward with our crescent moon shapes, our half circle shapes, petals. All right, and I finally have my last one. And I'm not putting any graphite over the black because one, it would be silly, and two, it actually would make it lighter and not darker. And we're adding graphite to give some depth and by adding some darkness against the light. Looks like I missed one. Okay, I think I've got all of my graphite down to start. So now I'm picking up my tortillon, and I am going to just kind of move the graphite around with the tip of my tortillon. I'm actually using the side of my tip and small circular motions and kind of pulling it away from the edge as I use those motions. And this should start to give you the illusion that this layer is on top of the other layers. Kind of fall away underneath it. Okay, now on this row I only have one side with graphite, but there's plenty of graphite left over on my tortillon and what we just shaded, so. And that prevents me from putting too much graphite down because then everything's dark. Can't have any contrast when everything is dark. You need some light against the dark. This is a favorite pattern of mine. I'm surprised I haven't drawn it more in my Monday videos. But it is favorite because it looks like a flower. I mean, you know, I'm a flower kind of girl. But it's just a fun pattern to draw. Okay, I think I've got that row done. So now next row of rounded. And we're doing the same thing, just kind of tickling that graphite and pulling it away from the edge. And then finally our last little petals. Okay, we're done shading behind all the petals. So this looks a little too white for my taste. So I am going to go ahead, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to pick my PN pen back up. And I'm going to draw one more line from the center to the point between the petals. So that's what I'm going to do. This, you don't have to do this. This is just something I've decided here at the last minute. And now I'm going to start with just the graphite on my tortillon. And I'm kind of just going to put a little bit of graphite on one half. Oops, I missed one. Of each of these petals. I have plenty of graphite left on my tortillon. So there you have it. So that is our pattern See Me. Now See Me is a very versatile tangle, and there are lots of different ways you can draw it and decorate it. So today you're just seeing one version with a couple different shaped leaves. So we're now going to go and pick up our pencil one more time and do shading on our poke leaf. But we don't need to do a whole lot. All I'm going to do is put a little bit of graphite right underneath that smile, that upside down smile at the end of our stem. I'm kind of doing it a little heavier than I probably should. Hopefully that won't be a problem. Now, as I pull this graphite away, I am going to use it to kind of put a little bit of graphite around the edge as well. So I start here, pulling it down, and then I'm just using what I have on my tortillon to add a little bit of shading to the edges. That way it's not so stark white against that back of solid black. And we'll just go around and continue that. Now this is the one that I made that mistake on, which I'm not concerned about because I am going to put a little bit of graphite here because I want to make this definitely stand underneath our See Me. Okay, so anyway, I was talking about this little mistake, and I'm not worried about it because once we're done with our shading, I really do think it'll be hard to find it. Everywhere one goes behind, I kind of rub a little extra graphite there. See this one here. Now you can always add more graphite if you feel like you don't have enough. You just don't want to rub and tear up your paper because you're just rubbing. So again, I'm going to add a little bit more here where this one goes underneath our seamy plant. I'm just putting a little bit at the base of each stem just so they don't look too white. But I think I am good. Now you can close this line off if you want. You don't have to. But if you wanted to, you could go ahead and close off this border line. I think that's good. Okay, so there we have it. We're finished drawing our tangles and we're finished shading our tangles. So now we are moving on to step 7. Step 7 is to put your initial and your signature on your tile or your artwork or your piece of paper, whatever it is you've drawn on today. Let me see. I tend to go around a little bit and see if it looks like there's an up or down. I think I like this orientation. And I'm going to go ahead and just put my chop or my initials on the side here. Now my chop is a stylized B and C, my initials. And I start with a little curly Q and end with a little curly Q. And then I'm going to put a few of these dots around it. So you can see my B and my C. And that's my chop. Then I'm going to flip it over and sign it. I'm going to date it off camera, and I'm going to list our tangles. So we used seamy in the center, and we used poke leaf in our corners. This is the end. We have one step left, but it is to appreciate what you've done. So bring that feeling of gratitude and appreciation back in, and be grateful that you took some time for yourself today to hopefully draw along, but at least watch. And if you did, I hope you found some calm and some zen in it as well. Now you can find videos of me drawing these 2 patterns by themselves if you want some more of that. And so just check out the links at the end of this video. They are also in the description. That's all I have for you today. Thanks again for joining me. And until next time, be you and be happy.